Three, two, one.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of Grok Talk, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GraniteGrok.com.
Grok Talk.
Welcome to the Halloween edition of Grok Talk, live from Concord, New Hampshire, in the CNHT studios. I'm Steve McDonald here with Skip Murphy and Mike Rogers. Thanks again to Rich Gerard, who is running for the school board in Manchester, for spending some time with us. For our fans, listeners, and anybody else who's interested, you can listen to this in past programs on Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and we are, of course, on YouTube and Ustream and GraniteGrok.com. One more thing, Facebook and Twitter, we are there. You probably are too, so you should just like us or follow us. So, moving forward here with our next guest, I want to welcome to the program somebody who I saw in, I believe it was August, at a CVA event at the Durgan Pulling Arena, where we were 2 weeks ago. First time I'd ever heard her speak, and wow, was I impressed. Welcome to the program, Karen Vaughn. Karen, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, thanks for being available for us. I think it's important that we talk about this. I know that Hillary Clinton said some things about the VA, and she's Hillary Clinton, so that's what she does. And then, of course, recently here in New Hampshire on WMUR TV9, she started to back away from those remarks. I don't know if anybody really knows specifically what she talked about, but why don't you fill our listeners in and then give us your reaction to her words.
Well, I'd love to back up all the way to 2007, the first time she was running in a primary when she said the VA was not worthy of our veterans' sacrifice. And then, so in 2007, when it's a political campaign time, it's a terrible situation. 8 years later, she declares it to be not that big of a deal, being blown out of proportion by the conservatives. And now, like you said, she recants that. She's outraged again. And I guess, my question is, if she's really outraged again and what she said last week is true, then where has she been for the last 8 years on this issue when she's been, in one of the highest offices in our nation for a good period of that time? And where's she been? I mean, that's the big question here. And it seems to me, and I think it probably does to most listeners and most veterans out there, that this is just another case of wherever the political wind blows, she floats. And if the conservatives are now driving the narrative on the broken VA, then I guess it's not broken anymore, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, we're in a heck of a mess right here with people who will not say what they mean and mean what they say, and I think America's had it with this. And it was funny when I really don't want to be crass or anything, but it was kind of funny when your Halloween spooky music came on, and I realized it was Halloween, and I'm talking about Hillary Clinton. If anybody scares me.
So,
it certainly scares me.
Oh, she is scary because, even in her retraction, she said that she worried that some people were trying to use the fact that we need to make major reforms as a justification for dismantling the VA, and thinks her comments were really more directed to that. So Ed Morrissey adds, priorities, let's make sure we're protecting the corrupt bureaucracy before the veterans.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's amazing what comes out of these people's mouths, isn't it? And how they don't even realize how their own words are betraying what they're trying to say. They believe it. I mean, it's really astounding. We know that there is everybody in America at this point, because of whistleblowers, these brave whistleblowers that have come out and told the truth. Everybody in America knows that we have corrupt, widespread problems in this bureaucracy. Now, and as a matter of fact, she also said that Republicans are trying to hold back money on it, and most people are not aware of this. I know you guys probably are, but since 2001, the budget for the VA has tripled. It is now the second largest bureaucracy in the federal government, so money's certainly not the problem. So, we need to make a big deal out of the corruption taking place inside the VA because, for heaven's sake, let's not worry, like you said, let's not worry about the veteran that's not actually getting care. The 300,000 now that are estimated to have died while waiting for care. Let's talk more about the bureaucracy of it. So you're exactly right. This is astounding. So,
are you still on tour with the CVA?
I am. We start back up with the 2016 Defend Freedom Tour as early as January. We're going to be hitting the road hard in 2016, working on getting veterans out to vote. We've got 22 million veterans in America, and our statistics tell us that over half of them are not even registered to vote. And we're just trying to encourage these men and women to fight one more day for America, to not be sucked in by the hopelessness that I think so many of them feel that have made them move out of the process. The VA being part of that hopelessness, and we want to let them know that Americans do care about them, that it is not a reflection of America's passion for them, that what they're dealing with and the inability to receive good health care. We're just trying to get out there and encourage them that, together we can make a difference, but we've got to lock arms and get together on this. And one thing, not to just rattle on here, but one thing, I live in Florida. And in Florida, the election was won by 73,000 votes in 2012. Can you imagine that? 73,000 votes directed Florida's path on the 2012 presidential election. And we had over 600,000 veterans that stayed home and didn't vote. So, the numbers are there. All we've got to do is get veterans engaged again, and that's the process that I have kind of dedicated my life to right now.
Well, certainly, as I gave you the call to bring you on the show, I appreciate what you're doing as a double Blue Star dad. Both of my sons and my daughter-in-law do use the VA. Here in New Hampshire, it does get fairly good ratings for the clinic that is in Manchester. We do not have a VA hospital here in the state of New Hampshire. So people either have to go there, down to Brockton, Massachusetts, or over to Vermont for longer-term type care. And it is a problem that has existed for decades. But certainly, when I saw the first stories coming out about the VA and just the bureaucracy and the leadership doing what they could to get their bonuses and letting veterans die, it just made my blood boil. It is unfathomable that under two or more administrations that we've gotten this way. And what are you hearing as you go around the country? Do you get the chance to meet with congressional leaders from those states, and what are they actually what are they saying? But then, what are they doing?
What I've experienced is almost absolute gridlock. Congressional leaders who are wringing their hands. As you know, we just had the Senate vote blocked to just bring about the simplest form of VA reform, and that's accountability. And it's amazing that the senator who demanded that we would not vote on VA accountability is also the same senator who lied who lied about his service in Vietnam. I mean, what we're seeing here is just incredibly widespread corruption. And what I've seen, like in my own experience, when I get out and talk to veterans, I just wish that you could correlate, that you could march a group of wounded veterans in front of these congressmen and make them sit down and watch their life for a day. I'd love for them to see my friend Mike, who's a double amputee, one of the most tragically injured in the entire war in Afghanistan and Iraq. He has a traumatic brain injury and is a double amputee, as I said. The first time I met Mike, he had duct tape attaching his prosthetic leg to his thigh.
Wow.
Duct tape. This same young man waited 10 months for a root canal. If anybody has ever needed a root canal, can you even fathom that? And it makes me want to cry.
I've had several. Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, not to even mention the fact that this young man has suffered from a traumatic brain injury and deals with life that is just nearly impossible anyway. Now we let him be in agonizing pain in his mouth for 10 months. And, one thing that I want to point out, too, is when I told you earlier that the budget for the VA has tripled since 2001, do you know what's most appalling about that? It's 78% of the new hires have been middle and upper management positions, not health care givers. So American people, Congress is so out of touch with what Americans are willing to do. And I think they're hiding behind this whole circle, this closed circle up there where they all nod in agreement with each other, and they just completely, constantly disregard the real issues at hand. And that is the fact that veterans are not getting health care. They're just not getting it. And like you said, one of you said, I can't remember which one, I think it was Skip, you talked about your family members being able to get good health care. There are certainly pockets all over this country where when you get in, your health care is good. The problem is the wait list and the backlogs. And you know, what we've watched at Concerned Veterans for America, as we've been monitoring this, is it's just a constant deception to the people. We say that the wait lists are decreasing, but by decreasing the wait list, what we're doing is putting these cases in appeals. And the appeals cases are going 4 to 6 years without people getting decisions on being able to get health care. It's completely unacceptable, and Congress has got to stop playing political games with the lives of our veterans. They've got to get real in this battle and be honest about what's happening.
Okay, Karen, I understand you have to take off. Where can people reach you, or where can people help? Where should they go?
Go to cv4a.org, concernedveteransforamerica.org. We are leading the charge in reforming the VA. Thank you so much for being willing to stick with us and keep fighting about this subject, and we appreciate your willingness to fight. Thank you so much.
I heard you speak. I appreciate you trooping yourself around the country to get this in front of people. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, Karen Vaughn, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Why are you going to want to listen to Grok Talk? Because when it comes to politics, news, and the culture, we are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio, microphone stomping, conservative, bloggers, and activists. Grok Talk comes to you live Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you missed us on Saturday, catch us on Monday from 1 to 3 p.m. right here on The Rock, NHCR.com.
Grok Talk. Rock